The year is 44 BC. In the heart of Rome, in the theater of Pompey, the most powerful man in the world walks into a trap. Julius Caesar, dictator of Rome, conqueror of Gaul, the man who crossed the Rubicon and brought the Republic to its knees, enters the Senate chamber. Within minutes, he will be surrounded by men he calls friends. Within minutes, he will be stabbed 23 times. Within minutes, the course of Western civilization will change forever. This is the story of Julius Caesar, a man who rose from a noble family to become dictator of Rome, a man who conquered 1 million lives and enslaved 1 million more, a man betrayed by those closest to him in one of history's most famous assassinations. But the truth is far more complex than the legend. Gaius Julius Caesar was born in 100 BC into a patrician family, the ancient nobility of Rome. But his family had fallen from prominence. They had the name, but not the power, not the wealth, not the influence. Rome, in Caesar's time, was a republic, controlled by the Senate, an assembly of Rome's elite families. But the republic was dying. Corruption was everywhere. The rich grew richer. The poor grew desperate. Military generals commanded armies more loyal to them than to Rome itself. Civil war was always one ambitious man away. Into this world of chaos and opportunity, young Caesar saw his chance. Caesar understood something the Roman elite did not. In Rome, power didn't come from birthright anymore. It came from the people. It came from the army. It came from whoever was bold enough to seize it. Caesar began his rise through the traditional path of Roman politics, the cursus honorum, the ladder of political offices. He became a military tribune, then a quaestor, then an aedile, organizing grand public games that won him popularity with the Roman masses. He spent money he didn't have. He went into massive debt. But he understood that in Rome, popularity was currency, and he was investing in his future. In 61 BC, Caesar became governor of Hispania, modern-day Spain. He led military campaigns against local tribes, earning him wealth, military glory, and the loyalty of his soldiers. When he returned to Rome, he formed an alliance that would change history. The First Triumvirate, an unofficial pact between 3 of Rome's most powerful men, Julius Caesar, Pompey the Great, and Marcus Licinius Crassus. Together, they controlled Rome. Pompey brought military prestige. Crassus brought immense wealth. Caesar brought political cunning and the support of the people. Together, they were unstoppable for a time. In 58 BC, Caesar became governor of Gaul, the vast territories covering modern France, Belgium, and parts of Germany. What followed was 8 years of brutal conquest. Caesar led his legions across Gaul, defeating tribe after tribe. He crossed the Rhine River into Germania. He crossed the Channel into Britannia. He was the first Roman general to reach these distant lands. His commentaries on the Gallic Wars, written in his own hand, describe the campaigns in clinical detail. Over 1 million Gauls killed, another 1 million enslaved. Entire tribes wiped from existence, cities burned, cultures destroyed. Caesar's conquest of Gaul was one of the most devastating military campaigns in ancient history. But Caesar wasn't just a conqueror. He was a brilliant military strategist. At the Battle of Alesia in 52 BC, Caesar's forces were outnumbered and surrounded. Gallic chieftain Vercingetorix had united the tribes and trapped Caesar's army. Caesar responded by building a massive fortification around the Gallic stronghold. Then, when a relief army arrived, he built a second wall facing outward. Caesar's legions fought enemies on both sides, trapped between two armies. Against impossible odds, Caesar won. Vercingetorix surrendered. Gaul was conquered. Caesar had expanded Rome's territory by a third. He had become Rome's greatest living general. He had become too powerful, and the Senate feared him. Back in Rome, the Triumvirate had collapsed. Crassus died in battle against the Parthians. Pompey, once Caesar's ally, turned against him. The Senate, terrified of Caesar's power and popularity, ordered him to disband his army and return to Rome as a private citizen. If he obeyed, he would be prosecuted by his enemies. If he refused, he would be declared an enemy of the state. Caesar faced an impossible choice: lose everything or risk everything. On January 10th, 49 BC, Caesar made his decision. He stood at the Rubicon River, the boundary between Gaul and Italy. Roman law forbade any general from crossing the Rubicon with an army. To cross meant civil war. Caesar looked at his legions. He looked at the river, and he spoke the words that would echo through history. Alea iacta est. The die is cast. Caesar crossed the Rubicon with his army. There was no turning back. Civil war had begun. Caesar marched on Rome with a single legion. Pompey and the Senate fled to Greece. The speed of Caesar's advance shocked Rome. City after city opened its gates without a fight. Within 60 days, Caesar controlled Italy. But Pompey was not finished. He had gathered a massive army in Greece, supported by the full resources of the eastern provinces. Pompey's forces outnumbered Caesar 2-1. At the Battle of Pharsalus in 48 BC, the two former allies met in combat. Pompey's superior numbers should have crushed Caesar, but Caesar's tactical brilliance won the day. Pompey's army was destroyed. Pompey fled to Egypt, seeking refuge. When he stepped off his ship, Egyptian officials, hoping to win favor with Caesar, stabbed Pompey to death and cut off his head. When Caesar arrived in Egypt and was presented with Pompey's severed head, sources say he wept. Whether from genuine grief or political theater, only Caesar knew. In Egypt, Caesar met Cleopatra. She was 21. He was 52. She was embroiled in a civil war with her brother, Ptolemy XIII, for control of Egypt. Caesar intervened. He backed Cleopatra, and together they defeated Ptolemy's forces. Cleopatra became queen. Caesar became her lover. She bore him a son, Caesarion. For Caesar, the alliance with Egypt secured Rome's grain supply and brought immense wealth. For Cleopatra, Caesar was the key to securing her throne and Egypt's independence. Their relationship was as much political as it was personal, and it scandalized Rome. Caesar returned to Rome victorious. He had defeated Pompey. He had secured Egypt. He had crushed remaining resistance in Africa and Spain. He held the ultimate power. The Senate, terrified and powerless, granted Caesar unprecedented honors. He was made dictator, not for the traditional 6-month term, but for 10 years. Then for life. Dictator Perpetuo. Caesar, dictator for life. He reformed the calendar, creating the Julian calendar that, with minor adjustments, we still use today. He gave land to his veterans. He expanded the Senate, filling it with his supporters. He passed laws to relieve debt and provide grain to the poor. He planned massive public works. He was reshaping Rome in his image. But Caesar made a fatal mistake. He flaunted his power. He accepted divine honors. Statues of Caesar were erected across Rome. Some whispered he wanted to be crowned king. In Rome, where the Republic had stood for 500 years, where kings had been cast out and despised, the word king was unforgivable. A group of senators, led by Brutus and Cassius, former allies of Caesar, began plotting. They called themselves the Liberators. They claimed they were saving the Republic. On March the 15th, 44 BC, the Ides of March, Caesar entered the Senate. He had been warned. A soothsayer told him, "Beware the Ides of March." His wife, Calpurnia, begged him not to go. She had dreamed of his murder. But Caesar went. As he took his seat, the conspirators surrounded him. One grabbed his toga, another struck the first blow, then another, and another. Caesar fought back, but he was overwhelmed. 23 stab wounds. When he saw Brutus among his attackers, Caesar spoke his final words. Not et tu, Brute, as Shakespeare wrote, but according to some sources, kai su teknon, Greek for you too, child. Whether from shock, betrayal, or resignation, Caesar covered his face with his toga and fell at the base of Pompey's statue. The greatest man in Rome bled to death on the Senate floor. The conspirators believed they had saved the Republic. They were wrong. Caesar's assassination plunged Rome into another civil war. Mark Antony, Caesar's loyal general, turned the Roman people against the assassins. Brutus and Cassius fled. Caesar's adopted heir, his grandnephew Octavian, only 18 years old, claimed his inheritance and raised an army. The second Triumvirate was formed: Octavian, Antony, and Lepidus. Together, they hunted down Caesar's assassins. At the Battle of Philippi, Brutus and Cassius were defeated and committed suicide. The liberators were destroyed, but the Triumvirate could not last. Antony and Cleopatra allied against Octavian. At the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, Octavian crushed them. Antony and Cleopatra committed suicide. Octavian stood alone. He returned to Rome. The Senate granted him the title Augustus. The Republic was dead. The Roman Empire was born. Caesar's heir had accomplished what Caesar could not. The Republic Caesar destroyed gave birth to an empire that would last 500 years. Julius Caesar's legacy is complicated. He was a military genius who conquered Gaul and expanded Rome's borders. He was a political reformer who addressed corruption and helped the poor. But he was also a dictator who destroyed the Republic and paved the way for imperial rule. He was responsible for the deaths of over 1 million people. He centralized power in a way that made him indispensable and made Rome dependent on one man. When that man was killed, Rome collapsed into chaos. Was Caesar a tyrant who destroyed Roman freedom, or a visionary who saved Rome from itself? Perhaps he was both. What is undeniable is this: Julius Caesar changed history. He proved that in Rome, power belonged to whoever was bold enough to seize it. He showed that republics could fall when ambition outweighed principle. He demonstrated that even the mightiest can be brought down by those closest to them. And he left a name that, 2,000 years later, still means power. Emperors would be called Caesar, Kaisers, Czars. His name became synonymous with absolute rule. From Roman senator to conqueror of Gaul, from crossing the Rubicon to dictator for life. Julius Caesar's story is the ultimate tale of ambition, power, and betrayal. And 2,000 years later, his legacy still shapes our world. What other stories has history tried to bury? Subscribe to Ancient Echoes and discover the heroes and villains the world forgot.